Hello, this is Shan Chandrasekhar welcoming you to another delightful part of our programming. As a part of our tribute to Indian cinema, we are delighted to welcome an outstanding individual from the Indian cinema whose contribution is going to be remembered for many, many years to come. He's a choreographer, he's an artistic director, and an extraordinary talent, one of the finest dancers that the Bollywood film industry has ever seen, none other than your favorite celebrity, Terence Lewis. Terence, such a pleasure to see you in the studio.
Thank you so much. I'm honored with that description. That was amazing.
Terence, congratulations. My God, in addition to your celebrity status in the film industry, you're now one of the most popular figures on television in all these reality shows, the art-oriented dance shows especially, and you've made a great mark. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. Thank you for all your love.
Terence, tell me a bit about your involvement in the film industry. It runs back years right now. You started when you were very, very young.
That's right.
And you've done choreography, you've acted as well.
That's right.
In addition to that, your work in Bollywood film industry has fetched you some great accolades. Tell me about it.
Well, to be very honest, when I was a little kid, I just wanted to be on stage. I loved the attention. I was born in a family of 8 children, just like you. I just realized that you're also a family of 8. We have 4 brothers, 4 sisters, just like you, and I'm the youngest, just like you. So we have some trajectory which is very common.
Absolutely.
And I was born in a very humble family in Mumbai. My father was a worker, mill worker. My mom was a housewife. We had very humble but very modest beginnings. And the only thing my parents wanted us to is to educate ourselves, because that was the way we would liberate ourselves from the poverty and from the misery that we came from. And we grew up in a 220 square foot chawl, very, very small. It was quite intense. It was beautiful because we were a big family and a small place. But we went through the hardships of life. And when I was 6, I remember I was in school, and that was the first time the teachers were going around asking for submissions for singing, dancing, elocution. And I didn't know what it was all about. I just put my hand up and said, yeah, I'm in. And then I realized I had to participate, and I participated. And to my great luck, I stood first. And it was only when the accolades stopped and I looked at the audience, I realized, wow, this is power. This is to have that many eyeballs on you, that many people doting on you, and to hear the thunderous applause. Something shook within me. And from there on, I became a stage whore. I love to be on stage. Give me any opportunity, be it elocution, be it theater. So it was not so much about dance. It was wanting to be on stage, wanting to kind of, have that energy. And the energy of the stage would also kind of make me come alive. Really make me feel happy. So unlike people who were very nervous on stage, for me it was the opposite. I really came into my own self when I was on stage. I was very comfortable with being on stage with the spotlight on me. I did a lot of theater. I did a lot of singing. In fact, I was thinking I would become a singer because that was a trend that days, pop stars. And I really wanted to kind of, sing and become a singer and a rock star. But I realized that it was not going to be possible without, a sugar daddy. Theater I did for a long time. I was in theater in college. And eventually I realized that wouldn't pay the bills, and we were from a humble family. It was surprisingly dance. That was my 3rd career option, which actually took me into this career. So it was not the first choice. But somehow, even in dance, I felt it would not be complete if you couldn't perform. So somewhere, the theater of it, the singing aspect of it, and the dance came together in a platform like dance. And I never got any formal training, much to many people's, thinking that I was well trained. No. In my initial years, we were from a very poor family. We never got anything apart from, our 3 meals and our, books. So it was very difficult to train or get any kind of training. But much later, after I finished my graduation, I did my hotel management, I did my BSc in microbiobiochemistry. It was much after that I was continuously giving dance lessons to little kids, going to small, going to each one's houses and teaching them dance. And that used to kind of, give me my pocket money and used to kind of help me educate myself. Even then, I was not sure whether I would become a dancer. It was much later when, after I had finished all my college and my university, I sat down one day and I realized that, if I get into hotel management, rather if I get into the hotel industry, because I already finished my hotel management, I knew that if I get into this, knowing the nature of person that I am, I would get right into it and really kind of do a great job, and then I would get sucked into it. Because that is my motto. Whatever you do, do it with passion and with full commitment. So I said, instead of doing that, let's put my heart into something that I really love and that I would really enjoy. And that was dance, but it was not lucrative that time. And also, most importantly, my family thought it was not for me because I was amongst the 8, the more academically oriented types, and had studied so much. So much to their shock and dismay, they were really, really upset when I took dance as an option and gave up my job as a, as a hotelier. And that was a big shift that I made. But let me tell you also that I thought that I would make it big in the world of dance. And let me tell you, it crashed. I realized that having an academy required so much more. You needed management skills, you needed marketing, you needed sales, and I was just there as an artist. I didn't have any of these, so I failed miserably. I really tanked, and it really hit rock bottom. And then eventually, I realized that I need to shift careers. Sometimes you got to be flexible, and that's what I've learned about life. Sometimes when you don't get what you want, you got to also kind of navigate certain other areas of life which are pretty close to what you want. And you do a certain kind of a deal. You don't have to kind of keep always like, oh, this is what I want, and this is the method, and this is the journey. Sometimes the journey, instead of going this way, it can take you in a very crooked way, but still get you there. So I started doing fitness classes, and this was my break into Bollywood. So how does that connect? Well, I started training all the ladies to lose weight, help them be fit, and my first celebrity client was Madhuri Dixit. And that's when suddenly I was in the spotlight, and I became the fitness trainer, helping ladies of Bollywood, the first ladies, and also a lot of the affluent community in Bombay to lose weight. It became very popular. So I had a lot of money suddenly from a flop business in dance. Suddenly in the fitness industry, I'd really boomed, but somehow I was not creatively satisfied. So I had taken care of my existential issues, of food, clothing, shelter, and taking care of my family and contributing there. But very honestly, I was very vacuous inside. There was a huge emptiness inside because I wanted to do something more creative, more liberating, and I was not close enough to that. And then one day I just realized that I needed to go abroad and study dance, because I'd never studied dance, because whatever I had learned was more like Eklavya. Because I had to teach somebody, I had to educate myself how to break down dance. Just winning a dance competition doesn't make you a teacher. I realized that the hard way, that when you got to teach, you really got to understand the subject. And that taught me what dance was all about. But that was still my own experiments with dance. I realized that there must be a school out there that probably has a great way of teaching. And I came to America, and I landed in the shores of New York way back in 2000. So I was 25 or 26 then. And voila, I came here, and the Terence Lewis before North America and the Terence Lewis after New York were two different people. It changed me in many ways. It gave me a certain understanding of how dance should be taught and how the institutes are built. And I went back and I started my institute again. In the meanwhile, because of my aerobics classes flourishing, Reena Datta was instrumental in getting me to Bollywood films. That time, Reena Datta was the wife of Amir Khan, and Reena Datta Khan, and she was a student of mine, a client of mine, and she was a producer of Lagaan, and they were looking for a modern choreographer who would choreograph the Viennese waltz. Now everybody assumes just because my name is Terence Lewis, I must be knowing waltz. But just because in our culture, waltz, foxtrot, jive are a part of things. But faking something and actually doing something authentic are two different things. And I knew Amir Khan is very authentic in whatever he does. So I was completely nervous. And Reena said, "Don't worry, just speak to Amir and speak to Ashutosh and see how it goes." And I spoke to the two of them, and I told them very honestly, I do not know this style. But Reena is pushing me to do this. She says, why don't you just learn, because we know you could handle it, and don't worry about the camera work, we'll take care of that. And I was like, okay, they seem to be very nice to me. And I went and I hunted for a teacher who would teach me the Viennese waltz. And that's how my journey began. And I was in Bhuj. I was choreographing Reena, I was choreographing Amir, and I was choreographing the heroine Gracie, and also the British actress. So it was a great experience, and from there on, people came to know that I was choreographing. So I didn't assist anybody. I just jumped right in through another door, and that's how my trajectory in Bollywood film started.
It's an Oscar-nominated movie, and it was an incredibly successful film in the box office. an extremely well done film.
That's right.
Now, for you, that propelled you from there on. There was no turning back for you.
Absolutely, yeah.
So tell me about that particular piece, that the first composition that you did.
Well, it was a very small piece. It was an authentic Viennese waltz, which is a crucial part of the film, where as they are dancing, there is a
Does
snitch.
that song has lyrics in it?
There's
or
no lyrics in it.
No lyrics.
It's just a music by Rahman. It's basically worked on the composition of Bach and Mozart. That was the piece, reference piece that we had given Rahman, and he worked on that piece and he kind of brought his original score to it, and he gave me this beautiful music, and I had to choreograph it exactly at the time because Lagaan was set in the 18th century.
Right.
So Amir was so detailed that he wanted me to kind of teach the Viennese waltz of the 18th century.
Right.
And fortunately for this amazing woman called Salome Roy Kapoor, who is also the mother of Siddharth Roy Kapoor, she was the one who was instrumental in teaching me this style, the Viennese waltz. And I learnt it and I taught it to them. It was intense 3 days of practice in the evenings. They used to come from shoot, and Bhuj is really hot. So in the sweltering heat on the terraces, where we were staying, we had apartments. There were no hotels in Bhuj. There were apartments, and we used to rehearse in the terraces, and then go to the Manwa fort and rehearse it again there. And then the cameraman was Anil Mehta. He was amazing because I was staying with him, so he helped me understand the camera work. It's really an amazing opportunity because I also worked with Webervi, because she had a small chunk of the song which needed to have it in the same Viennese style, especially when the British actress sings the whole ballad in English. And that's when she imagines Amir to be the prince, and because she's dreaming about him being a part of her dream. And that's when again the Viennese waltz happened, and that was also a very interesting, important moment to see Webervi do it the way she does, because she's an amazing choreographer. And it was just a great association, so it was great for me as a learning point. There were great choreographers in that film, and along with all the choreographers who made that film, I think it also got the Best American Choreographers Award that year. So it was a great banner, great opportunity, and a very small start for me, but it kind of really propelled me.
So tell me about your journey in the film industry. Right after that, what was your next move in terms of your feature?
The next one was from PNC, which is British Nandi Communications. It was a very successful film by Sujoy Ghosh, the famous Kahani director. And he had his first film, which was called Jhankaar Beats, with Rahul Bose, and and it was a great cast. It was a fun movie. He asked me to do 4 songs in the film, but the turning point for me was actually with Ram Gopal Verma. That time he was fresh out of Satya and Rangila and all those movies that are being done. And Antara Mali happened to see one of my stage shows. I'm very big in the stage circuit. She happened to come and see one of my stage shows, and she loved what I was doing on stage, which is completely bizarre and different stuff that you generally can't do in films. And she met me after that, and she said, I would like to suggest you as my choreographer for a new film. And Mr. Ram Gopal Verma, gave me a song, and he introduced me to about the song, gave me certain inputs as to how that song should be done. And I was like, okay. And he said, do whatever you feel like. And I visualized the song more as a director rather than a choreographer, because I loved the role that Antara was playing in Road. That movie's name was Road, with Manoj Bajpayee and Vivek Oberoi that time. And I had these crazy ideas. I was young and fresh, and I wanted to kind of make a mark, but I was thinking more of a director rather than a choreographer. And that's my problem. I always think from a wider perspective than just dance. It could be an advantage, it could be a disadvantage. And when Ram Gopal Verma walked into my studio, and I said, this is my idea, and he said, where's the dance? I said, there's no dance in this song. These are all the visuals I have in my head, and I'm going to shoot it in this way. He says, I want to see more dance. I said, I don't want to show dance. I want to do this song in this manner. I have these ideas, and I think I should do it. And I don't know what got into me. Generally, I am the person who is very flexible, and I just adjust. But somehow I felt that no, I should not compromise with my, with my creativity. And I said, sir, I can do what you're asking me to do, which is dancing, which is easy for me. But this is a visual song. Shoot it the way I want it to, and trust me, it will be very different. He walked out in a huff. He was very angry, very pissed off. And he told Antara, you know, what is this new boy? He's nobody. He's just some 20-something, and what does he think of himself? And Antara was mad and livid at me. And I was like, you know, I'm sorry. I just wanted to do it in a certain way, and I believed in it. And he says, yeah, but you've lost the film. I said, okay, no problem. I lost the film. 8 months later, I got a call from him again, and he said, I have a film. I said, really? And I want you to do all the songs in the film. I said, really? Me? You told me you don't want to see my face. He says, no, somehow I liked your conviction, and I like what you are saying, but somehow it didn't fit into that movie. But I want to make a movie called Naach. And that movie was all about dance, and it was about Antara Mali trying to make it as a Bollywood choreographer, but is unsuccessful because she has these crazy ideas. So it was a little bit autobiographical from what he had seen from me, and my interaction from that episode. He had put that character of Antara, you know, and decided to kind of take the film forward. And it was very interesting because the film was beautiful. The songs were undefinable in a way because the music was so different. And I was so inspired to do something so amazing. And Naach was one of my best films ever I've done in 2003 or 2004. And it was beautifully shot with a great team. And I think some of my best works came out there because it was a contemporary choreographer trying to find a space for herself. And I'll be very honest with you, I have been a misfit in Bollywood for the longest time. I really have to grapple because sometimes I feel, well, I'm an artist, I want to do something different. And when somebody tells me that this is your reference, this is the MTV video, we have seen this, can you replicate this? Or they'll show me some references. And I'm like, okay, this is just a replication job. And it'll pay me my bills, but you know, do I really want to do this? So because I needed the money and a certain amount of, I needed to kind of push myself further, I agreed to do it. But after a point, I was like, I'm fed up of this. I want to do something creative. I want to do something different. And it was hard because you also need to network. And I'm not very good at selling myself. I'm not good at going out there and telling everybody, meeting people. And I'm more in my art. I'm more in my studio. And I realized that was my biggest mistake. That is why it took me 20 years to be an overnight success because it took the longest time. There is no overnight success, but yeah, it took me longer simply because I didn't have the skills to push myself and promote myself. I waited for work to come to me. I never asked for work out there. And then that was my biggest folly because when you're talented, you should go out there and present yourself. The culture of Bollywood is very different from how I work. There is very few artists who really, push the envelope, Everybody wants it easy. Everybody wants it to be, they want the camera to dance more than them dancing, so that they look like they are dancing, and they want the editor to dance in such a quick way so that it looks like there's a lot happening. So for me, that was that itself for me was a big disappointment. I was like, unless I get a Sanjay Leela Bhansali's film where dancing is celebrated, where it's shot in a certain way, I don't think I'm going to enjoy working and in Bollywood films. And in 2009. I made a decision and I said, I'm out of Bollywood. And that's the time, surprisingly, when one door closes, they say the other door opens. 2009 was my first big break in television. Although I had done a show for Sony Television, Dance, with Saroji and Webavi as judges, 2009, it really took off and it really made us who we are as household names. And then Nach Ballet happened and Star Plus. And that was a great innings. And then I did Chak Dum Doom for Colors. So I've pretty much been on most networks. And it's been a great journey as a judge and a choreographer.
We'll come to your television career because you've had an extraordinary success on television. But in the film industry itself, you've had other hits as well. You've had the opportunity to, to choreograph for some more movies.
Yes.
What's Your Rashee?
What's Your Rashee was a beautiful movie again. Again, Ashutosh Gowarikar approached me with this song. And then he suddenly, 2 days before, he said, okay, you're going to be in the song. I was like, I can't do both the jobs. I can't choreograph Priyanka Chopra and also be on stage with her. She says, no, it's a musical, and in one of the characters, the 12 characters she plays, because she plays the zodiac signs, 12 zodiac signs. And one of the zodiacs is that she is a choreographer and she's an artist and she's a performer, and she has, she performs these musical Romeo Juliet kind of, dance ensembles. So she says, so they required a Romeo. So I was like, okay, and she would be my Juliet. And we were casting for the Romeo, and then finally he was like, no, I don't want any Romeo, you are my Romeo, and you be on the stage. I said, I can't do both. He says, no, I don't need you to choreograph, I will shoot the whole thing, you dance, and I will, you know, have your assistant teach Priyanka whatever she needs to do, and we'll do it. And it was amazing of Priyanka to even concede to it. So it was great. It was a great experience. The song was beautifully shot.
Do you remember the title, the first line of the song?
Dhadkan, Dhadkan. That name of the song was Dhadkan, Dhadkan. It was a beautiful ballad, and I appreciated the work that Priyanka put in. She's a hard-working actress, and Ashutosh Gowarikar, I think I would put it on record, is the most amazing director to work with. You know, whether his films are successful or not, that's not something I can judge upon. But as a person, as a director, as a human being, I think he's first class and top class, and I have my deepest respect for him. The other person who really is amazing as a director is Sanjay Leela Bhansali. Sanjay Leela Bhansali was one director I really was looking forward to work with, because I'd heard so much about him. You know, I had more than hearing something about him, I had seen of his works. They were just extraordinary, and not just dance films, but even a film like Black, the way it's been shot.
No, our dream. Your word is not black.
Or even Savarya, the film may have done very badly, but in terms of how it was visually shot, it was just beautiful. And it was my good fortune that I happened to work with him in one of his movies, which was basically Ram Leela. Again, a similar situation happened with what happened with Ram Gopal Verma, happened with even Bhansali sir. He had asked me for a movie, but things didn't work out because I had a certain vision. And then, he said, okay, we agreed to disagree, so I can't work with you. And I was like, okay, sir, that's okay. When the time is right, we'll work together. And it was very funny because a year later, we met at a screening, and he just hugged me. And I was like, I thought I had offended him, by not agreeing to do the film. It was actually Ritik's film, Guzarish. And there was some confrontation on that film, so we couldn't, agree to certain things. And, then we lost contact, and I thought, I'd lost him forever. But he was very sweet. He hugged me and he said, I have something for you. Would you like to do it? I was like, what is it? He said, it's a new movie of mine. It's Ram Leela. It has Deepika and Ranveer Singh. And then he said, I want you to listen to the song. And I heard the song and I was like, sir, I've already quit films, so I don't know whether it would be appropriate for me to kind of do films. Maybe my assistant can handle this. He says, no, I want you to do it. Make an exception. I was like, okay. And Mr. Bhansali doesn't take no for an answer. But also the song was very tempting. When I heard the song, I was like, wow, it's beautifully rendered. And there needs to be some justice done in terms of, how it's lyrically, it gets transformed visually on screen. So I had a lot of ideas in my mind, and I must say that I worked with a lot of directors, but Mr. Bhansali sir is one of the directors whom I feel really knows how to take out, whatever artistry you have from an artist. He knows. He will not settle. You think this is your best. Hindi mein ek kahavat hai, kuredna. So he really digs it out of you. He takes out things that probably even you didn't know existed within you.
Extracts the best strength in you.
Yeah, he has that ability. He has that vision, and he has that ability to take it out of you, and he will take it out of you. So it was amazing to work with him, and that song became a huge hit. Although the song's name was Ang Laga De. It's a dance with the dhoop.
Hum the first line.
Ang laga de re, mohe rang laga de re.
Ang laga de re, mohe rang laga de re.
And the best thing was, remember in shooting that song, Deepika was told to wear no makeup. So when she walked in, I was like, if this is what she looks without makeup, she's stunning, because she was stunningly beautiful in the film. And what would take generally 3 days, I'm generally given 3 days to choreograph a song, or 4 days. He took 12. And he said, no, it can't be hurried. And it was all night shoot. So full night shoot, but still the energy on the set was amazing. And it was one of the nice things that happened to me. And yeah, that was the last song that I did for a film. And I think that would probably be the last song I ever do as a choreographer.
Then you had another film called Punk.
Wow, wow, you've really done your research work. I have forgotten most of the films that I've done, but Doctor, I'm quite impressed. Punk was a radical film. It was a film about a child, a young boy who doesn't know what his sexual identity is. In fact, the very interesting thing is that that film was offered to me as an actor. So in 2007, the director called me up and put me on tape, and he auditioned me, and he made me go through the scenes. So the scenes were okay. I thought it was bizarre. Why is he talking to a turtle? Why is he behaving so, you know, funnily with his mother, who's very obsessed about him? So I was quite taken aback by the story. Then I realized what the story is all about, and he says, yeah, would you like to debut in this film? I was like, wow, that's a bit strong, you know, people know me who I am, and I don't know whether I would want to kind of do a film that is so cutting edge and yet dealing with so many, you know, issues. I don't think I am complex enough to kind of handle this kind of a complex character. Acting is one thing, but even understanding the deviousness or the issues that the mind has, I don't think I was even close to understanding the character. And I said, I don't feel the part, you know, I don't feel that I will do justice to it. And I said, I don't think I can do the film. And then he said, okay, no problem. And we discussed a lot, and he said, would you at least choreograph? I said, but I thought you didn't want to do any songs. He said, no, there are no songs in the film, but there is a scene which I would like to shoot like a song. I said, explain it to me. I said, he has an issue. He imagines a top Bollywood actress to be his soulmate. So he keeps talking to her. So it's a psychological thriller. It's a very, very dark scene, and I completely tripped on it. It was very much like a Quentin Tarantino film, you know. So it was like, wow, in terms of just the darkness, the dark humor. There was humor, but there was dark. And I loved that scene because it was a one take. It was a 3-minute scene. And we had to go through the entire set. So the set was a maze. So he's walking through doors. Dancers are coming in, filtering out. So there's a lot of cross cuts. And there's no cut. There's not a single cut in it. So it's a 3-minute scene where the music is just softly written. Bipasha is actually speaking and mouthing dialogues and questioning. He is answering. At the same time, they have to be in the right position. And the camera is on a steady cam, which is following them.
Wow.
So there's just the set, the 2 actors, the dancers are all placed in very, very specific positions, and even the dancers are not dancing, they just are there as a character in the frame, just popping out in the frame and just looking at the camera. So it's a very bizarre scene, and to me it was one of the most satisfying jobs that I did, because it was so dark, it was so bizarre, it was psychologically so traumatizing to do, also to get into the skin of the character, and to deal with the scene. So there was not just dancing, it was also just positioning, taking the cameraman. I had to literally stand next to the cameraman and take him through the entire maze as the actors leave and come, and making sure that they're still in focus and not losing the characters, not losing the scene. It was just one of the most creatively satisfying, you know, jobs that I've done. So some things like this really excite me. So that was it.
Tell me about Shikar.
That was with John Matthew Mathan and an erstwhile director. And he was again making a very different film, an unconventional film with Shahid Kapoor, Bipasha Basu, and Ajay Devgan. And the song that he was doing was in a discotheque. It was with Ajay Devgan, and then I had Bipasha Basu, and then I had Shahid Kapoor. So I had 3 varying levels of, you know, expertise in dance, from 0 to 2 to suddenly 10. So it was difficult for me to kind of put all the 3 together.
That's when you need the editors and stuff
like
that.
Yes, that's when you need the editors. That's when you need the editor to dance. That's when you need 100 dancers to kind of mask any flaw that the actor is having. So whenever you see a lot of dancers around an actor, you can be clearly rest assured that it definitely is because the actor, you know, itself maybe not be that great. John Matthew Mathan, again, as a director, he's done a lot of ad films. The best ad films have been directed by John Matthew Mathan, and he had a wonderful innings. He has done Sarfarosh. So this was his second film, Shikar. And when I got approached for it, I was very, very pleasantly surprised, and it was a great song. It was called Fitna Dil, you know, so that song was Fitna Dil, and yeah, it was just amazing to see all the three come together and do what they could do.
Well, we want to wish you all the best. You're very dedicated, you're passionately involved, and your contribution to art, culture, the film industry, choreography, and the entertainment industry in India has been simply outstanding.
Thank you.
And God bless you, and we want you to go from success to success. And we look forward to seeing you very, very soon back again in our studio.
Thank
Wish
you
all
so
the
much.
best.
It's been a pleasure. I've heard so much of you about you, but actually meeting you in person was amazing. Your aura and your energy is amazing. You just welcome people, and I think that's the key to your success. Looking at this organization grow from, you know, from a brick to an entire wall and to an entire house and to an entire organization, it's been amazing. I've seen the journey. I want to say that I'm really proud that you're a fellow member, a fellow Indian doing such amazing work in this part of the world. And may you have many more, and here's to a great innings to your life, and we hope we can stay in touch. Thank you so much for inviting me here. It's been a real pleasure. You've asked some really tough questions and some really good questions because generally I get, you know, all kinds of questions, but it's been a pleasure, you know, answering your questions and talking to you and sharing this space with you. Thank you so much.
And the feeling is mutual. I think you're very sincere. You're one of the most dedicated people I've come across in terms of your commitment to art and culture. That's really admirable.
Thank you so much. It's my pleasure. And to all the ATN viewers, this is Terence Lewis wishing you all the very best for your life, and may you have a great summer, great Diwali, and a great Christmas coming up.